Well, we're talking about the extradition treaty we have with the United States of America, and whether it was lawful to for the Americans.
I think you have your radio on, Professor Glees.
Babar Ahmad's extradition. That's what the point was. And as I say, this was looked at twice. It's now being looked at in Strasbourg at the European Court of Human Rights. And therefore, it is not the case that this Babar Ahmad has been locked up in prison for 7 years without any judicial review. Now, as I understand it, and I explained I'm not a professor of law, there does not have to be a prima facie case, that is to say, initial evidence put to judges in order for the extradition to take place. But the fact of the matter was that we all know the case that has been made against Babar Ahmad. We've discussed it on this program, and undoubtedly that evidence lay before the judges that were looking at this case, just as it has been put to the judges in Strasbourg at this moment. I have no doubt about that. No, what this is...
Okay, wait, can I just leave it? Can I just stop you both for a second? Sorry to interrupt you, but Rab in Birmingham has been waiting for quite a while. I just want to get Rab's point in, because it might go around in circles a little bit. Rab, good afternoon.
Hello there, good afternoon, Nihal.
What would you like to say, mate?
Yeah, I mean, what I'd like to say is that I'm absolutely appalled that basically, our own judiciary system has been undermined, that basically our judges and our lawyers in this country can't do anything, that we have to hand over a person when the person's here. We have the same sort of method of doing things. We can, that person can be actually trialed here. So by them handing him over, our system's been undermined. But
Rab, sorry.
A different message as well, Nihal.
Yeah, what's that message?
Well, the message is, for example, if somebody broke into my car tomorrow and that person was then caught by the police, then, do I have the right to say to the police, well, I don't want you to deal with him, I want you to hand him over to me because I can give him a good hiding? No. If you have a law in the country, then that law should apply to everybody. By, us saying that our law's not good enough, or them saying our law's not good enough...
Well, that's not what they're saying.
Sending out the wrong message to everybody.
No, but wait a minute, that's not what they're saying. They're saying this man allegedly wished to commit crimes against the United States. Okay, so if he allegedly had possession of classified US Navy plans, right? If he had possession of those, then that is allegedly an attack on the United States. Actually, no, if he had the plans, of course, then if it's proved that he had those plans, then that would be regarded as an attack on the United States of America. And you would expect the Americans to say, well, we respect you. We respect in the same way, Rob, as I put that point to Faisal earlier on. If people from another nation, whether it be in Africa or South America or wherever, committed crimes, atrocities against British people on the streets of Birmingham, for instance, wouldn't you expect them to be tried here? Wouldn't you feel faith?
No, I wouldn't, because the thing is, if the country where there was, like the other chap said earlier on, this isn't Pakistan or India where you can just give them a backhander and get away with it. The thing is, we have a proper system here, or
Sorry, Rab, you're confusing the issue here, because you think that by us sending him to America, the Americans are effectively saying that our legal system is rubbish and you won't be able to try him properly. But that's not what the Americans are saying. The Americans are saying, are they not? Look, you've committed, or you've alleged to have committed crimes against America, therefore we have a right to try you here in America, which is not the same thing as saying you boys can't deal with it over there, so we're going to have to deal with it. They're saying if you're going to try and kill American citizens, then we have a right to try you here in America.
No, but I mean, what's the difference? A law is a law. The same sort of thing.
Well, there are different legal systems. Otherwise, Fahad could go and be a lawyer in America.
Nihal, like I gave you an example earlier on. If somebody broke into my car tomorrow, and I felt very passionate that I want to get my hands on that person, do I have the right then to say to the same law which has been told in this country that hand the person over to me because that person was doing harm against me, not against you? Does that mean that I have the right then to ask for that person to be handed over to me? I'd feel very passionate about. I mean,
we're not talking about you giving someone a backhander. We're talking about states who have treaties with each other, who are allies.
Exactly. So then what's the point of having, things like allies if you can't trust a country to take, the law that in this country...
But again, trust doesn't come into it.
Of course it does. Of course it does. I mean, if that was...
I'm saying you're attacking our
person,
citizens. If you wish to attack our citizens, then we have a right to try you in our country.
No, you don't have a right to you don't.
Why not?
Because the thing is, the reason, like I gave you an example. I mean, if my example is not clear enough, I don't know what is. That, if, like I say, if somebody came to my house and broke into my house, right, I would want to get my hands on that person, but I don't have the right to do that.
Yeah, but if someone came from Glasgow, right? Someone came from Glasgow and burgled your house in Birmingham, would you think it fair to go up to Glasgow and to sit trial, or would you wish them to come down or wish them to come down to Birmingham and turn trial in Birmingham where they committed the crime?
No, I wouldn't, because the thing.
Oh, you'd be happy, would you? To go up to Glasgow every.
No, if I entrusted in the system over in Glasgow, then I would let them.
But it's not about trust.
In Birmingham or Glasgow.
Okay, this is going. Okay, Fahad, go on.
Nihal, you said
sorry, Rab. Sorry, Anthony and Rab. 1 second, Fahad.
Nihal, what you said there is precise. You do it where the crime is committed. Now, both sides accept that the crime, the bulk of it, was committed in this country, in the United Kingdom.
But okay, and this is taken...
And against British interests in Afghanistan, because whatever American interests are in Afghanistan, the British share them as well. In fact, it's the British who are given the bulk of this dirty work.
But by that rationale, because of course there are... many nationalities, forces in Afghanistan, they could all have a case to say, well, the Germans there, maybe we'll have a go at him and yada yada yada. The fact is, though, the fact is the specific nature of the allegation that he possessed classified US Navy plans means that the Americans, do they not have the right? Because if the vulnerability to terrorist attack of these boats had led to the killing of American citizens, then the Americans have a right to try that, do they not?
Let me give you an example. Okay, I know Professor Glees didn't respond to the comment about the IRA's members who've been attacking this country for many years, and America refuses to extradite them, which is a very clear-cut case. But give me an example of Lutfi Raisi. I don't know if you remember this guy, an Algerian chap, back in 2001, post 9/11. He gets arrested here on an extradition warrant before this treaty was signed, when there was actual... an opportunity to challenge the evidence against you in a court of law. He's accused of training the hijackers. He's arrested from his home, knocked into Belmarsh, released after a few days without charge by British police. There's no evidence against him. It's not a strong case. He's re-arrested on an extradition warrant from the United States. They've met a huge hysteria in the United States that this guy trained the hijackers. He had contacts with all these different terrorists in his book. He was seen in a video celebrating the 9/11 attacks with another terrorist. What happens? The evidence is challenged in a court of law, like it's meant to be, before you can extradite them. It's shown that that's not him in the video. It's shown that he didn't have this notebook. It's shown all the evidence that they had fell apart bit by bit by bit until he wasn't extradited. Moreover, he sued this government for detaining him for that time and accusing him of being a terrorist, and they agreed to give him substantial damages. That shows the danger of this treaty. You must be able to challenge that evidence against you before you're sent all the way to the United States to face 3 years in solitary confinement. That's a big chance. This isn't testing the water to see the hot or cold. This is 3 years in solitary confinement in conditions which the UN themselves, not some human rights lefty NGO, the United Nations have said constitutes torture. This is not...
Sorry, they've said that 3 years of solitary confinement constitute, because before I took it to mean that you said that after he was successfully prosecuted, the place that he would go to then constitutes torture. Are you now saying the solitary confinement in pre-trial? Because, of course, there are plenty of prisoners put in solitary confinement in all different parts of the world. I'm sure even here there are people who are put in solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement, the United Nations has stated recently. In the Supermax, there's been a special report on that itself. But generally,
so what? Solitary confinement per se is regarded as torture
for a significant period of time, up to 3 years, is definitely torture according to the United Nations.
What we're hearing really from Fahad Ansari is the same message. It goes round in circles. He doesn't like America. Babar Ahmad has not been charged with anything in the United States.
Professor Glees, I have nothing against America.
In the United States of America. America is a lawful country. America will try this case lawfully, and if, as Fahad insists, Babar Ahmad is innocent of the charges, then he will be discharged of those charges in the United States of America. That's the end of it. Extradition is part of a lawful system, and if I were to ask Fahad Ansari to name a single IRA terrorist hiding in America who's not been handed over to Britain because we've asked for his extradition, I bet you he couldn't give a single name.
You're right, I couldn't give a single name,
Okay.
but if you ask the Home Secretary, they could give you many names.
Okay, let's speak to Gurdeep in Wolverhampton.
Hi,
Good
Nihal.
afternoon, Gurdeep. What would you like to say?
Hi, what a ear-bashing program you've got. But I think he's wasted my 7 years of taxpayers' money in this country. He should be sent back to America. Let's see what sort of perpetrator or whatever case there is. If it's a case to answer, he should be there to answer. At least he should face it. Why is he just hiding in England? Because it is a
He's
soft
from
country.
England.
It's my 7 years.
Gurdeep, he's a
taxpayers'
British citizen like you.
Yeah, let it be. If it's my son, I would say go and face it. Forget
Okay.
about the torture. Why is he wasting my time here?
Forget about the torture, Gurdeep.
I
Did you,
don't
did
care
you
because
honestly
he's
just
American.
say forget about the
He's a
torture?
perpetrator, Nihal. He's a perpetrator.
Innocent
of some-
until proven guilty,
Yeah,
Gurdeep.
that's why, like Idi Amin was in what is it, Saudi
Well,
Arabia. They died there, right? They never sent back,
I think Idi
right?
Amin wasn't ever trying to say that he wasn't. I think it's
he
just.
wanted for something, Nihal.
Yeah.
I heard this
I'm not
case
sure the
before.
comparison with
He
Babar
wanted
Ahmad.
for something. Let's see what comes out of it.
Okay, Gurdeep, thank you very much indeed for that. Thank you to Professor Glees and, of course, I've just Fahad Ansari. Sorry, Fahad.